Hi, this is Mark Birch with quick analysis of John Donne's selected poems. Here I'm going to be taking a look at Song, Go and Catch a Falling Star, the form of which is significant. It is a lyric poem, and so Donne has identified it as a song, intending for it to be set to music for performance. And as such, Donne could be playfully mocking the persona, a wronged man, rather than it simply being a misogynistic diatribe, as it's often read. Because it's got that playful quality, because it's intended to be sung to entertain, it may be mocking the persona. So you'll be grateful that I don't intend to sing this to you, but it may be painful enough for me to read it. Go and catch a falling star. Get with child a mandrake root. Tell me where all past years are, or who cleft the devil's foot. Teach me to hear mermaids singing, or to keep off envy's stinging, and find what wind serves to advance an honest mind. If thou beest born to strange sights, things invisible to see, ride 10,000 days and nights, till age snow white hairs on thee. Thou, when thou returnest, wilt tell me all strange wonders that befell thee, and swear nowhere lives a woman true and fair. If thou foundest one, let me know. Such a pilgrimage were sweet, yet do not. I would not go, though at next door we might meet. Though she were true when you met her, and last till you write your letter, yet she will be false ere I come to 2 or 3. So essentially Donne's asserting that it's impossible to find a woman who's both beautiful and faithful, true and fair. Donne employs a significant number of imperative verbs, commanding his listener to conduct impossible tasks: go, get, tell, teach. And the force, the power that's conveyed by those imperative verbs really helps to convey the frustration felt by the poetic voice. The initial task, go and catch a falling star, is suggestive of romance, given that a falling star is a thing of beauty, often something that's regarded as being wished upon. However, the command to catch it's clearly an impossible task, transforming this thing of beauty and romance into something that's frustrating and, if it were possible, fatal, something that therefore mirrors the tone of the poetic voice much more appropriately. The second item that's ordered is to get with child a mandrake root. And that mandrake root may have been chosen as a result of the mythical belief that the plant had human characteristics and would groan or scream when it was pulled out from the ground, often depicted as male or female depending on the number of branches. But this is a much more disturbing instruction than the initial one, go and catch a falling star. Similarly impossible, but being told to impregnate a mandrake root introduces a sexual element and a deeply disturbing one. We then, if we jump down a little, come to another mythical impossibility: to seek the person who clove the devil's foot. Again, we've got that sense of the bitterness of the poetic voice evident in this use of really dark imagery. And Donne may be wittily linking this to the mandrake root, because the mandrake is sometimes referred to as Satan's apple. We've also got a sense of nostalgia. So the bitterness is tempered to a degree. Tell me where all past years are. It could hint at the sense of loss that's driven by a romance that's been compromised by the beloved's infidelity, hence his frustration and anger. And that could be supported by line 6's reference to envy's stinging, or envies. This sense of nostalgia and regrets maintained in the desire to be taught how to gain access to the mermaid singing, something beautiful. However, the singing of mermaids is also associated with the myth of the sirens, so once again we're in the realms of the mythical, something impossible to achieve. The beauty of the songs of the sirens would lure sailors to their deaths, and in this sense, therefore, the mermaid singing would be associated with something dangerous and a disingenuous temptation, closely linked to Donne's assertion that nowhere lives a woman true and fair. And that concept of temptation takes us back again to the devil. Devil imagery associated in the Bible with temptation. We see that frequently, particularly perhaps in the temptation of Jesus in the Gospels of Mark, Luke and Matthew. But Donne ends this stanza by turning his attention away from these mythical elements to the personal and the social. He says to keep off envy's envy's stinging. Now, on the face of it, it seems much more possible to be taught how to avoid the pain of envy than it is to find any of these mythical things. But given that this is following all of this range of impossibilities, Donne seems to be implying that the poetic voice's personal envy and pain are so profound that they defy any attempts at amelioration, that the ability to keep off envy's stinging is as impossible as the pursuit of those who clove the devil's foot, or mermaid singing, or the falling star. The cynicism of the poetic voice is manifest in the claim that no wind or support could advance an honest person. So social advancement could, by implication, only come from dishonesty. We might want to consider the context of Donne's life in order to consider why that might be something that's so clearly etched into his mind, given that his exile from polite society, from the court, etc., played such a large part of his life following his marriage to Anne More. So the wind is ephemeral, it's something that can't be relied upon, suggesting perhaps that support for honesty is equally insubstantial and unreliable. And Donne could be extending this as well to the women that the poetic voice criticises, that they are unreliable and ephemeral. They don't value an honest mind, and their affections are as ephemeral as this wind. It's worth noting that he switches to monometer at this point, and find, what wind. And that move to monometer kind of structurally creates an abruptness and a lack of substantiality that complements this claim regarding the support for honesty. The lines themselves are as insubstantial and ephemeral as the wind that he's referring to. Okay, hope you'll join me for the second part of the analysis of the poem. See you soon. Cheers, bye.